In my house, I'm the
IT
go-
tech support.
yes. I'm like, guys, I don't
My
know
husband
anything.
and I, we, because of our jobs, we've moved to different states and stuff. Run
And then,
I couldn't get
Cool. You can start to
Yeah.
record it now.
Well, we're together now, but at one time he was in Arizona
Audio.
and I couldn't.
Different.
And I was
no
like,
kidding.
I'd take pictures of behind the TV and be like, what is going on? Watch anything, nothing is working. He's got every gaming console and
Mhm.
everything that was ever invented.
We're good? All right. Real quick, if there's anybody that would like to speak during the public comment period, there is a sign up sheet. We're in a different room tonight, so I assume
1, 2.
it's over here. I don't see anybody in the room, so. Today, the Human Services Commission is gonna meet Thursday, January 8th, 5:30. So we'll go ahead and get this commission started today. And I wanted to start by, doing our roll call. My name is Brandon Stevens. I'm the chair. I'm present. Please say here if you're in the room. Angelina Goldwell. I haven't seen her come in yet. Is there anybody asking to get in online yet? No? Okay, great. Nancy Dela,
Here.
Dahlia Martinez, still not here yet. Tiffany Walker,
Here.
Lester Dixon,
Here.
and Jennifer Zhang.
Here.
So that does mean we have met forum today. Okay, great. Thanks, Michelle. All right, we'll start with our land acknowledgement. We, the city of Lacey, are on ancestral land of the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek, including the Nisqually tribe and the Squaxin Island tribe. We acknowledge and remember those tribal people not recognized today who were absorbed or relocated into other tribes for survival. We recognize the ancestors and their descendants who are still here. We recognize and respect the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek as the traditional stewards of this land since time immemorial, and their role today in taking care of these lands in perpetuity. We recognize and have the responsibility to call attention to the histories of dispossession, forced removal, and abridged treaty rights that allowed our nation, state, and city to develop as they have today. We do recommend that the community members read the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our approval of agenda, previous meeting minutes, and consent items. I move to motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Before we do that, is there anybody that has any comments about that? Any questions, concerns? That was Nancy. Thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, our agenda, previous meeting minutes and consent items have been approved for the meeting of November 6th. We have nobody signed up to speak publicly. I still don't see anybody trying to get in. Attendees maybe? Oh, Angelina.
Angelina. It's like you're muted.
Oh, she is muted, yeah.
Hi, there we are.
Hi, Angelina. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Good to see you all.
Yep, we're,
Sorry, just kidding. Michelle, you don't want me to.
thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Michelle. All right, our first item, we're super excited to welcome our youth council member, Jennifer Zhang. And
Hi, Jennifer.
yeah, we're super excited to have you join us. We had such a great time with El Haj last year, and I think you were busy at the last one, so we're excited that you're here. If you just could take a couple seconds to introduce yourself for the panel, that'd be great.
Well, my name is Jennifer. I'm currently a junior at North Thurston. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. I'm sorry I was busy in November. I'm really excited.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'm a graduate of North Thurston High School, and so we love to see that.
So you're destined for greatness.
Yeah, well, something like that. Anyways, we're super excited that you're here, and we look forward to having you be a part of this commission. And it's just a really important that we give back to our community, and you doing it at such a young age is commendable.
Definitely.
All right, so our next item is going to be our community development block grant program update and recommendation from Michelle Chavez.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a few quick slides to go over today. You all had in your packet, your agenda packet, a staff report regarding the community development block grant dollars for 2025 program year. And we are recommending option number 1 out of your staff report to make a recommendation to the Lacey City Council to dedicate $313,554 in capital project funding for the Lacey Center expansion project as what for parking lot and accessibility improvements, along with the contingency project, Hunter Run Park accessibility sidewalk improvements, and $34,839 for administration of the CDBG program. So just a few slides to share. So again, we already talked about, we had gotten our annual action plan and our consolidated plan approved through this commission as well as through the city council. We did get our grant agreement signed by the federal government and we have our money in our account, I'm happy to say. The total allocation the city's received is $348,393. Again, just to reiterate, this is the recommendation. We would like to staff recommends to option number 1 out of your packet to the capital funding project for the Lacey Senior Center expansion project. With the contingency project, which HUD recommended that we have in case something happens with the project and the original project gets delayed. And then also 34,000 approximately for the administration of the CDBG program. So the Virgil S. Clark Senior Center, I'm sure you all are well aware, is a wonderful asset to the city of Lacey and is very, very popular and it really gets well used. If you've ever been over there, it's a wonderful location. So they're needing to expand their parking lot to accommodate the increased use and attendance at the senior center and also to improve accessibility for our older adult community and also to increase safety for people with disabilities. So we think this is a great opportunity to utilize some of our federal dollars to help them with this expansion project. The contingency project would be Hunterwood Park accessibility improvements. And again, this project is a contingency to help in case something falls through with the original project that we are recommending. This space is a very lively and well-used space. I'm sure you're all aware of all the events that go on, the holiday lights and all the different usage during the summer. It would help improve accessibility, strengthen our civic engagement in the community, improve public health, as well as increasing access. So that would be increasing equity in our community. Lastly, the administration dollars. We're recommending 10%. We can spend up to 20% of our annual CDBG allocation on administration. We're recommending to start with 10% of that. And this helps to reduce the impact to the city's general fund dollars. And also it supports planning for future annual CDBG funding. So this is going to be an annual allocation we'll be receiving every year. So it helps us with the funding, reporting, data tracking, monitoring, and compliance of our grants. So there's all that support that needs to be done, and this helps.
Michelle, I have a quick question. Do you, your sense is that 10% is going to be enough administratively, or does this, or is there wiggle room in case you all need more funds for that part of it?
That's a great question. I think we originally, in our annual action plan for 2025 had recommended this amount. If the city determines that we need to allocate more, we can go up to that 20%.
Okay.
Right now, this is what's in our plan that we have had approved.
And is this projected as a position or additional hours for another position? I mean,
No, this would be helping support my position.
but someone to do that?
No, that would be just me.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, it helps to reduce the impact to the city's general fund. So part of my position would be funded from CDBG and part of my salary would be with city funds.
The reason I asked is because when we talked about this a year and a half or so ago, there was an acknowledgement that this is a huge project for you to be taking on in a already full work week. And I do worry that it might be more than you can manage. Not that you're not very capable, but you're doing a lot already.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
You're just gonna have to get a bed, put it in there.
It's similar to when I worked in Arizona. This is similar to what we had where I did the CDBG program on my own and part of my salary was supported, not the entire salary, but part of it was supported through social.
If I could, Michelle, just add on to, that's one of the reasons when we're looking at the projects of starting with something that is like a single project or a city project to reduce some of the administrative workload that is associated with it. And Michelle's talked a lot about how, the more grants you have out, the more requirements, the more you need to review and audit and all of that. And so trying to find ways that we can make it as streamlined as possible to reduce some of the management workload associated with it.
That is a good point because the one project was not on the table at that point. It was just, discussing the CDBG as a new grant.
Can you help me just clarify what the project, it looks like that's projected to cost around $2 million. Was that project gonna happen, obviously regardless of the grant funds, which helped, about 15% looks like approximately. I'm just wondering if that would have taken place without this grant.
So I think Shannon can speak to the other plans for the senior center in terms of what is going to be coming down the pipe, but this would be a portion of a larger project. We would. be
Okay, this
separating
one's
out this
specific, like,
Would be a smaller portion.
it's not, the parking
It's
lot's not the
separate.
$2 million project.
Right.
Well, the parking lot is the $2 million project, but I think, like Michelle was saying, there's a larger project, right? That is the third phase of the senior center. And to go to your question, Chair, I think it was, hey, would this happen?
Yes,
And the answer is, we just don't know when it would happen without a funding source like this, because we don't have other funding sources necessarily for
Good.
this project. And in fact, this is a portion of it, like Michelle mentioned, and it will likely require block grant dollars for a period of time. So being able to bond the block grant dollars, but the city is also going after other grant funding and resources that are available. So just as an example, at the council meeting on last Tuesday, this Tuesday, the city council adopted its 2026 federal legislative priorities. And our top priority is to get some additional federal funding through a community grant program for this project to help expedite it coming to fruition.
thanks for clarifying that for me. So, thanks, Michelle.
So again, the contingency project and then the administrative dollars, 10%, which would be a max of 20. You could allocate in future up to 20%. So the recommendation is to, on your packet, there's option number 1, which is the $313,554 capital project funding for the Lacey Senior Center expansion project, the parking lot and accessibility improvements portion. The contingency project being Huntermore Park accessibility and sidewalk improvements, and then $34,839 for administration of the community development block grant program. So I leave that open for questions.
Did anybody else have any comments or questions or concerns about the update and recommendation that we're gonna give to the city council? Shannon?
Chair, I just wanted to add one more thing to the
Sure.
comment about the $2 million of
Thanks.
recognizing that it's not just pavement for parking.
Yeah.
There is design, there's stormwater.
Yeah, no,
all of that.
Environmental
goes into it.
impact
So,
studies, all that stuff.
yeah, when we say parking lot, there's a lot more that's
You
going
just put it on
into
concrete,
just
it's easy.
details.
Yes, surveying, all of that.
Yeah.
I think it's dollars well spent.
Yeah.
And a need in the community that is most needed.
Well, as a commission recommendation, I do recommend option 1 to the city council as presented by Michelle and Shannon tonight. Do we need to hold a vote on that, Shannon, or, okay, do I got a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, do we have any more comments or questions on this before we vote? All right, all those in favor to choose option 1 and recommend this as presented to the city council, say aye.
I,
Angelina is an aye. Okay, great. All those opposed? Great, so we will go ahead and approve that motion and recommendation to the city council as presented. Thank you. And is there any other human services grant updates, Michelle?
Yes.
That you could provide for us since it's been a while? Oh,
I
Tiffany?
do have a comment about the CDBG grants, and talking about pipelines. Do we know how much funding will be coming in for fiscal year 2026, 2027? And are we going to create a pipeline as far as where we would like that funding to be distributed to?
So we usually the funding doesn't vary dramatically year to year. Sometimes unless something happens with at the federal level, it would be probably approximately around the same amount. But I think the city is looking to utilize community development block grants for the senior center project, which would cost.
Okay, for
Yeah.
over the next couple of
years.
fiscal years.
Okay,
Okay,
we would use that for, kind of just to get us started and
Okay.
using that towards developing this capital project to start.
okay, sounds good. That's what I need. Thank you. I apologize.
No.
No, we might ask
We-
questions.
All the questions is what we're here for.
So that $2 million, that includes the expansion of the facility as well?
Does not, and we don't have any up-to-date numbers on what that looks like, but I'm sure as you all can estimate, it's quite a bit more than $2 million. So we're gonna be continuing to take a look at how we might be able to move forward with that project in the future and what kind of revenues, grants, programs could be available to continue on with that expansion.
We know you guys will be looking into it. Representing the city of Lacey well on trying to find extra funds for that. Okay, Michelle, the Human Services Grant Program update?
Yes, so also in your packet, you have a staff report regarding the Human Services Grant Program, which you're all very familiar with. Happy to say we've got most of our contracts for the 2025 allocation all out the door, and we're just cleaning up a few little, kind of housekeeping issues. But going forward, I know that this is something that we want to talk about, and there's no action required this evening regarding this item. We'll bring it back again at a future meeting to talk to you about. But I put in attached to this again, the draft policy and the draft rubric. So we could look at that again, because each year I know the request is always about 3 times what we actually have to allocate. And it makes it really difficult because all of our programs and projects are very deserving in the community, and we value the work that all of our partners do. So it's just something to think about. In there's a timeline of the activities that would take place in 2026. Subject to change, of course, for unforeseen circumstances. But the first quarter, we're going to continue with our focus groups, and attached to this report, there is a list of focus groups that you all, I was introduced it last time,
Yep.
but we would love to have help if you want to take part in any of these. The first one is going to be January 21st at 1:30 p.m. right here in this boardroom. And is going to be human service agencies invited to participate. We sent out an invitation last night, and we opened that up to our partners. So if anybody wants to come and help with note taking and help me facilitate that, it's a very brief 5-question focus group with less than an hour of time, and we're allowing for Zoom participation as well. So you all just reach out to me if you're interested in helping out with any of these. There's quite a few in this quarter. So there's a couple in January, a couple in February, and then a couple in March. With the idea within the timeline of the program year is to have that strategic plan ready for you and for the city council by April, so that before the next round of the grants open up, we have some priorities to recommend for the Human Services Grant Program. So, did you have a question?
No, I'm just looking at the meetings here.
Schedules?
Yeah.
Where are they?
It's inside the packet on the staff report. The first packet there.
That's that.
Page 3 of 4.
There we go.
Okay, I just missed it. Oh, there's the dates.
Yeah.
Most of them are going to be here in City Hall. There's likely going to be one at Intercity Transit in February. And then probably one will be at the chamber or in partnership with the chamber to engage the private sector in our business community. So would love to have help with those, and I think it's going to be really fun. Jennifer, did you participate in the youth council for focus group? Okay, so I've talked to the youth council twice, once last year and once this year, with the new group of youth council. We've also done one at the Veteran Services Hub with the veterans, and we've done one at the senior center with their group that meets every couple of weeks. They have a coffee group that gave me wonderful insight feedback. I had about 16 people there that participated. So these are really fun, informal conversations. I shouldn't say fun because sometimes there's heavy topics that come up, but it's a very informal type of situation. So
I'll do the 21st.
Great. I would
Yeah,
love
no,
to.
I put it on my calendar, but I'll make sure to send you. an email.
And again, if you want to zoom in on any of them, you can.
And I did get the invite for January 21st. I am waiting for my executive director to return to see if she, because I sit on the commission, I wanted to see if they would like me to participate or if they would like somebody else to participate. And so once I get that response, then I will RSVP
Great.
for whoever it is. And then I can help with the 28th if you would like, or I would love to help with the one on the 11th. I would actually like to do the 11th one more. So
March 11th?
yeah, no, February 11th.
February 11th. Okay, the cultural groups.
There's community partners in there I've never met, and I would love to get to see
Yeah.
some of them and meet them.
And the focus groups was part of our community participation plan that we did for the Human Services Grant Program. And it also informs our our community participation plan for CDPG also. So it was also in the report that we sent up about this is what our plan is to engage the community and find out the needs and things like that. So happy to be moving forward with that. Again, the policy for the program has not been updated since April of last year. So based on feedback from the council and the Human Services Commission, some of the options we could consider is adding a cap on administrative costs, limiting the eligible programs to projects or service only, changing the cap on grants. Right now, I think it's 50,000 maximum, creating a minimum application amount. Some agencies do have a minimum amount. We don't, and considerations for the organizational size or longevity, because I know it's difficult for some smaller and emerging agencies to compete with larger agencies that have a lot more resources. So taking a look at the policy, do you guys have any feedback on the policy? Like what you think or the things about the policy that you'd like to see maybe modified or adapted?
Can you elaborate on the policy, what you're talking about?
So with regards to the human services policy.
Yeah,
It is in the packet, and things that we've just been kind of ongoing tweaking it a little bit each year when
I see.
before we roll it out, we talk about kind of like, do we want to keep it the
Yeah,
same?
yeah.
Are there things that we should tweak a little bit? And I'm not saying we should, but I'm just recognizing, acknowledging that the feedback we've heard from you all and the council is that
I think
possibly we
if
could.
it were me, I don't know if that's probably something that we can get into the weeds to today because we don't have it all in front of us, but it would be definitely something that I think if we all had time one day at a meeting to, set aside maybe like at least 30 minutes to or even longer to really look into that and see, especially when we look at all the rubric and our scoring and admin allotment and all that stuff would probably be like a really in-depth discussion. So I don't know if I have like any general stuff right now.
I would like to propose that instead of trying to do all of the presentations on one night, that we find a time to do 2 nights. I think the people at the end, I mean, we're all tired by then, right? And you want to give everybody good attention. And I think it would be more valuable if we could find a way to do that. I'd be willing to give up a second night 1 month.
Me too.
Okay, that was what I was going to ask, if it was just something that we could do the same week, the next day, or would we have to wait a whole month to do that again?
I think we probably try to do them as close together as we could.
Yeah.
Because of it really gets tight near all time in the summer, and the review period is kind of condensed. So as close together as we could. And Angeline.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely agree with what Nancy said. I think, back-to-back nights or, whatever makes the most sense. I would also hope to see for future discussion. I think Michelle, you brought up a good point. So, Jennifer, I don't know if you've had a chance to review previous meeting minutes or things like that, but basically, we were all surprised in the last funding cycle how many organizations were making requests for staffing funding. Um, and so that was clearly an emergent category, and we should probably put some some guardrails around that. I don't know what best practices are, but I
Well, I
mean,
definitely do agree, Angelina, that we should have a discussion on that and see if
mhm.
there's something that we couldn't recommend to the applicants that the council would stand behind also.
The only thing I would like to chime in and say is in most grants, it is most administrative dollars taken out. You know what I mean? So take that into consideration when you're talking about capping it, because a lot of these organizations, they are utilizing those funds for what we're asking them to, but they do have operation costs and administrative costs that they got to pay
And it's like,
to be able to,
and
to
Angelina-
be able to distribute
and
those.
she's saying, I know, we all know, like, it's super tight right now.
Mhm.
And we know possibly those programs don't exist without the people running them. So it's like,
Yeah, it's a catch
it
22.
is really, it really is.
So that's all I was, that's
Yeah,
that's
no,
all I wanted to put out
Oh
100%
there.
yeah,
agree.
absolutely.
Wouldn't it
I'm
be a
not.
percentage of a salary and not the full salary, or
They shouldn't be asking for the full salary. Like for instance, for the CDBG grants, they are only using a percentage of that funds to go towards Michelle's salary. Same for my salary at Family Support Center. Mine's broke up into like 4 or 5 programs, and a portion of my salary is paid out of all of them.
Potentially, we cap a percentage of the request
Yeah. Okay.
of it.
Yeah, I
You know what
agree.
I mean? So if they're, requesting $100 and we say 10% can admin, then they would get $10 if that, just to
Yeah.
break it down, simple like that.
Okay.
That might be something we could talk about for sure.
Mhm.
Angelina, anything else?
Yeah, and then to the point about new and emerging groups versus groups that have multiple decades of presence. Um, I would wonder, and I know that this is just thoughts for future discussion. But I would wonder similarly if it's a policy change or if it's a rubric change. I'm not sure which it would be.
Hmm.
Um, or which would be more advantageous to us to say something to the effect of either like, you know, for the sake of being able to write something down on paper, like 20% of the overall budget of our grants is earmarked for groups that have been in existence for less than X amount of time. Or it could be,
I think that's
maybe,
such great ideas.
It is a great idea.
you
I
know,
I'd say
um,
too.
Yeah, no, Angelina,
That's a great idea,
Yeah.
Angelina.
but yeah, because I agree with everyone else's perspective that that it is important to provide funding for our groups that have a wide reach. But all nonprofits have a life cycle, and planting those seeds for the newer ones to move into a longevity stage. I think is worthy of our consideration, regardless of where we fall on the nitty-gritties of it.
Would you be opposed to it being like we give a special consideration and additional points under the rubrics instead of like consideration, like
Yeah, no,
setting aside a separate
absolutely.
number, like adding additional points for those who are newer to the community and or less able to get those grants due to the bigger nonprofit sectors getting them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think points is probably is another good way to think about it. I mean, we all remember from our last funding cycle that it was, to the 10th or 100th or whatever, like points of difference between these groups. And so I think just in general, either making the rubric more precise is not the right word because the landscape's always shifting, right? But um
inclusive?
something so that it's a little bit so that the end result for us is a little bit more of a clear spread than here's 5 organizations that are all 89.92 and what do we do about that? Um but I also get the impression that that might be for this commission a longer conversation about how we because we're all coming from this with our lived experiences and our professional experience, and we are probably all interpreting the rubric slightly differently, or how we weigh things may not be the same. Which on the one hand it shouldn't be because it's subjective, but on the other hand, I'm wondering about yeah, the making it just a little bit more straightforward for next time round, or a little bit clearer, but I think messiness is also part of this work.
I think that's a great idea though. And you know what's crazy is I really was thinking about this in the Human Services Commission the other night when I was reading an article about Newark and them getting some additional funding from the Eagles organization because they're on the verge of shutting doors. And they came to us 2 years in a row and asked for some funding. And I can't remember if we provided funding to them or not, but
The ARC?
I apologize. Yes.
Yes, no, they were close both times.
Yes.
They got closer the last time.
Yeah. So for me, it kind of hit a soft spot in my heart. You know what I mean?
I
And
know.
so yeah, I totally was thinking on the same lines as you on that a little bit.
Thanks, Angelina, just.
Angelina, I appreciate the phrase that was at the very end that says this is messy, because it really is. And, you know, you're working with people in need and not enough money, trying to figure out how to make the best of all of it.
And I'd like to see more of I know that a lot of the organizations serve Lacey area, but I would love to see more of the money going actually into the city of Lacey community.
I know.
And I said tenants, clients. Sorry, I've been doing rapid rehab all day. More going into the community to the people that live here versus it going to organizations that say they're serving Lacey. And I'm not saying that they're not providing the funding to Lacey clients, but just more shifted towards those organizations that are actually right here in this area providing those services.
It's certainly something like I put quite a bit of emphasis and weight on and when I'm scoring, but
Yeah,
I know like the Olympia Lacey line is.
it's teeters.
Yeah. Especially like when they like talking about Sergio's and you know, there's basically like serving both equally.
Yeah, like they're right there in the middle.
Well said though.
I think it's a great question to, as you all are considering this and taking a look at the application and the questions. There's a question I think that is somewhat along the lines of like, you have to demonstrate how it benefits the city of Lacey. And if there's any tweaks you may want to consider, like how that question may be asked or something, to get you
I
that
feel like
information.
a good portion came with like this, it's gonna be exactly this amount. But then there was some that didn't really know for sure. But then, you know, we're really gonna be trying to contribute to the city of Lacey. We just don't have an exact number, and that's sometimes hard to do. But I wouldn't be against like hopeful that could be really black and white if possible.
Yeah. Agree.
Excellent feedback. I really appreciate it. I think this really gets us to a good starting point in the conversation, and we'll definitely bring it back to a future meeting so we can talk more in depth about the rubric and improving the process for scoring and helping to, you know, helps maybe get some more of our emerging organizations involved and funded. So that is excellent. I really appreciate all of your perspectives.
Thanks, Michelle.
Anything else on the rubric or the policy tonight for this minute here? We talked about the focus groups, we've talked about the rubric, we've talked about the policy. So we'll bring it back and we'll have a more in-depth conversation. I allocate, maybe you said like 30 minutes to it at least.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna go over. So be prepared to be here like a little bit longer that night. I think probably than we're, you know, typically here.
Excellent. I think that's it.
Okay.
Just looking to the schedule, and Michelle's gonna get to this in just a second about the February meeting. This would likely happen in March.
Okay.
So just.
Thanks for letting us know, like, yeah, I would say we probably would take your recommendation on when the best time for us to like really buckle down and tackle that would be.
it's a great time for you all to be thinking and getting to it. So
Okay.
I look forward to your discussion.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah, that question about how it's gonna benefit Lacey community members definitely can be
Improved.
Improved.
Yes.
digressed. Sorry.
And I like
Yeah,
every
appreciate-
person that goes up there, I'm like asking the question and
Mhm.
then some, I feel bad because some are like, I don't really know. And then I'm like, feel like I'm putting them on the spot, but I know that's part
It's
of,
a fair enough question because we are from the city of Lacey.
it is supposed to be our money. So yeah. Well, Shannon, do you want to fill us in on the director's report?
Oh, I should pick that up to Michelle.
Okay, your name's on there, but Michelle's on there too.
So yeah, we could kind of talk about these two items. One is we would like to host the next regional DEIB, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging meeting here on the date of the next Human Services Commission meeting.
Cool.
I thought it was already announced for Tumwater when we were at the first one.
I think they were just coming in, right?
They just released their applications for their Commission on Equity, so I think maybe giving them a little bit more time to kind of get their members, get them on board, and
Okay,
maybe later in the year would be helpful for them. And so, like Michelle mentioned, we're thinking the next meeting might be the best opportunity for the next meeting.
So we'll get more information on that and hosting that, what that means, but that would mean, so that agenda would be regarding the diversity, equity, inclusion. We invite the different jurisdictions again. We would have our Commission on Equity come. We're gonna invite United Way again. We had a person scheduled, but had a conflict come up unexpectedly. So we were gonna invite them back to give us a data on the Alice data report.
mhm.
So yeah, really excited to do that again.
Do you need us to help with anything?
We're gonna host. So we're gonna be the hostess with the mostest.
Yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say.
It's a great question. If you recall at the last meeting, we actually had facilitators and note takers from the Commission on Equity. And so maybe the Human Services would be willing to step in that role for that meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
Y'all, I'll just be there. I don't like to talk in big groups.
And then the next item is the Human Services Commission work plan. So all of our advisory boards do put together a work plan for their advisory board. So we'll be working on that too in this year, so we can get that together and of what we want to work on. And we'll probably look at the Commission on Equities work plan and kind of other City of Lacey long established boards, how they approach it. So I'll bring that back to a future meeting as well. So we won't start from scratch. We'll look at best practices and what the other advisory boards have been doing.
Okay,
What means?
well, couple things before, were you all finished now?
Yes.
Do we have anybody applying to fill our vacant position?
It's a great question. I just got a report that we have 3 applicants.
Okay, great.
Great.
And so the city clerk helps manage the application process for boards and commissions. And actually they call it advisory boards here, boards and commissions. But the mayor, she's working with the mayor to set aside time on his calendar to interview the folks. So January, they've already set aside some time. And there's 3 folks that have already applied, and I have 1 person that I'm meeting with tomorrow that, okay. So, good news.
That's amazing. 4 people
Mhm.
potentially. I just want to close this meeting out and just want to say I'm super excited for 2026 in our group here because I feel like we're starting to figure this thing out. And I know some of you already have a lot of experience in this field. For someone like myself, I just trying to figure it all out. And you guys have been super helpful in guiding everybody here, being super supportive. And I feel like as a team here, we're now starting to figure out how this all works. And I think this is going to be our best year yet.
Great.
Knowing how we can help the city best and learning from our mistakes. So I just wanted to say have a lot of gratitude for everybody in this room right now.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any words or anything? All right. Okay, well, I think we'll go ahead and finish this meeting up. We'll adjourn today at 6:11 for the Human Services Commission meeting for January 8th, 2026. And I said the time right? 6:11.
Thank you,
All right.
I hope you feel better.